Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to share this with you. It's the first time that I'm meeting Carol. Carol's from Colorado, and she had a private distant healing session. You will be just as amazed as I was. When the session was taking place, I was in awe, but then listening to you and what you wrote to me, I was like, you want to fall off your chair, like, oh my gosh, is this real, right? So what you wrote to me is, I'm just so amazed. I was in tears. So much deep emotional healing and religious healing took place. That was huge. And it says, I'm so grateful for you and putting your body on the line like this and experiencing everything. So I want to welcome you, Carol. Hi.
Hi.
We're so excited. So we talk about these things, religious healing, right?
Right.
And we grow up, some of us go into these religious beliefs of feeling we're not good enough, or we're sinning, or God's not going to accept us, or we might not go to heaven. And that all played out with the words that came through, with the connection you had with God, with Jesus, telling you that don't believe that, I don't judge you.
Right.
And how did that feel when you listened to that?
It was very relieving, and it took off like years of disbelief about my worthiness and about who I really am as a person, and not being judged. It just felt so relieving.
I can feel it when you're talking. It hit you to the core even talking about it, like emotionally healing, but that it went deeper than what you can even explain. I can hear
It
that.
is. Yes.
It's something that, if we grow up all these years with, we're holding on to that way of thinking about ourselves. And so you were given that self-worth, the worthiness, and you are magnificent. And um,
Yes.
so let's go into the healing itself. I remember laying on the table describing my feet, and they were curled up, and I couldn't move them. And I'm like, this is painful. And can you describe, because you said, oh my gosh, you described it as a dead person's feet.
Yes. They were curled up like a dead person's feet.
And how are they now?
They're not. They're 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 flat out. I have room to put my feet out. I can't even make them come back up like they were now. They are not. It's just amazing how they just straightened out.
Isn't that, it's like the energy that was being worked on there. Was it painful for you? Did you feel anything in your feet when it was happening? Because I sure felt the pain.
Yes, it was. It was. I felt like something like hot searing uh, poker like things on my bottom of my feet. It was very brief for me, but it seemed like it lasted longer for you. But it was there. It was so strong that I knew that my feet were being worked on.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when my feet kind of take that position, there's no denying, okay, there's an issue with the feet. And then when they start working on it, and the pain that I'm feeling, you might hear me go, ow, or, make that sound. It's like, that's when it's undeniable. But to hear that while the session was taking place, you resting and you feeling that same in your feet, that
Yes.
itself is like, look how connected we really are. And to know that they straightened out, right? I mean,
Yes.
that would be painful. I know, like, if my feet do that, it almost feels like you're having an attack, like you have to massage
Yeah.
your feet. They're so painful.
Yes.
And I'm so happy that they're straight.
Yes, they
Thank
are.
you. Um, then we go into another part of the religious beliefs. I found this was the way that it was described to me,
Mhm.
never heard it before, but it was nails driven into the back of your neck. Like it was
Yeah.
just driven in you and driven in you. And this is the way it is. And my neck was so sore, but I've never heard, okay, we're going to make you feel like the nails are being driven in. What did
Mm.
you feel when you heard this?
I knew that I knew that that's exactly what I was experiencing as a young child, that um, all the sin and the unworthiness, and it was just driven into us as children, um, and that we were born in sin. And I could feel it when you were talking, or when I listened to it later. I mean, I at that time there was so much pressure around that C7, that little bump area. There was a lot of pressure in there, and it continued for even for a few days after, because I felt like it was still healing and finding a new place for my neck to even be, because I had been so, forward head posture and everything. So it was quite amazing to feel that just being taken out. And
Yeah, all that unworthiness and all that pain, and then you're feeling this peace, the peace setting in. But what's interesting is sometimes healing is instantaneous, right? And sometimes it takes a couple days. And
yes,
I always say that when that happens, it's because you're healing, but also God wants you to know this is real.
yeah,
What you went through emotionally was real, and what we took out was real. And now, how's your neck feeling now?
it's really straight. I mean, I think even it goes clear down to my feet and being able to stand up correctly. It felt like the whole spine was straightened out. And
That's how I felt. I was like, I had to lay super straight. And I was like, okay, don't move your neck, don't move your head, keep your body straight. And I felt like the light was going through my head and just aligning everything. But that was not just aligning your spine, emotionally and
yes.
physically, right? And spiritually.
Mhm.
When we had a connection with God and Jesus, God blessed you.
Mhm.
And it was so overwhelming. I was crying.
Mhm.
It was like you two were taking an oath together.
Mhm.
Describe that to me, what you felt when you listened to that.
It was like I was making peace with with the Jesus of my childhood, that had, it was always talked about how the nails were driven in his hands and his feet, and for our sins. And it just felt like, um, that whole I was afraid of Jesus, because for some reason I just, in my childhood, felt like that was should have been me taking those nails in. And so I took in a lot of unnecessary weight, feeling responsible that I needed to be I needed to save, myself, or needed to be saved. I didn't want him to do that for me. I just felt so guilty. So that, being able to hear that and feel that love, it helped me to make peace with the Jesus that I was so afraid of, and wouldn't be able to talk to. And I feel like now the relationship is possible, and it's not scary, and it's loving. Um, so yeah, that was one of the biggest things for me, was having that healing that rift.
And so I'm taking you on this spiritual journey. When you listened to it, did you feel like you were in that space?
Yes, I did. I felt like I was in that space that was
So
totally,
sacred. I mean, I
yeah.
could see you, and it was like the words were coming through, and I'm watching the vision, and I'm overwhelmed with tears, like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And they're embracing, and he's blessing her, and she's like taking an oath now, like all is okay. But and just hearing you describe this, I get tears because I'm thinking, I don't know anything about you. And what comes through is the nail in your neck, just being hammered in your neck. And the fact that you as a child felt so bad that Jesus had his nails in his hands and his feet. Only God would have known that.
Yes. Very true.
Right? So when you have that aha moment, it's like that love embraces within you and everything else washes away.
Yeah.
And, for me, watching it, but then for me, reading your words in your emails, that you're saying you have no idea. I didn't have any idea. So when you listen to it and you were aha, I'm
Yeah.
reading your email going, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
because I'm just letting it all come through. So it was quite amazing. So there were a couple other things that came through. We had a great grandmother that came through.
Yes.
Yes. What did you think about that?
That was really amazing. That was, I felt someone with me, on my father's side for my whole life, but wasn't sure how to pinpoint it. I did meet my great grandmother briefly when I was very small, and remembered her. She was in her 90s, and she was just, I just could tell underneath all of she kind of was in a foggy state and a coma type situation, but I could feel that she was there and watching us and watching me. And I just feel it now that she's been watching me ever since. And
yeah, and that's what she said. And she was like, I want you to know I've been protecting you. And now you can talk to her, you feel her, now you know what you've been feeling was validated, right?
Yes.
You had wrote me when you first wanted the healing session that you were having upper abdominal pain.
Oh gosh, I nearly forgot about it. It was yeah.
But what's interesting is I normally don't want to know, right? But you wrote that. So I placed that into God's hands, and that wasn't really the main issue here.
No.
So I don't like to limit it to what it is. That's why I normally don't want to know. But I placed that into God's hands. And then we just kind of went on with the session, and that was addressed. And then you didn't go see the doctors or an ultrasound until after the healing.
Right.
What happened when you got those results?
They were absolutely clear, nothing found, everything normal, all negative. Every part of they did all over my abdomen, and nothing. There was nothing there. It was nothing found. It was gone. Nothing. I mean, I knew it was really sharp pain. I was experiencing this on and off for several months, and it was gone. I mean, there's nothing there. Nothing.
I love listening to that, because this is the one thing you wrote down, Debra, physical pain in my upper abdomen. And now I bring it up and you're like, oh, I almost forgot about that. It wasn't like it became not the one important thing.
Right.
And that's what's beautiful, is you just open yourself up to receive whatever it is.
Yes.
And the other thing you said is feeling cold. You couldn't get warm.
Right.
Was that during the session, after the session? When did that happen?
It was during the session. I timed it, and it was right before. It was right as the spiritual surgeons that came in and started working, and it was like you said, it was like an operating room. You get cold because they keep it cool in there, and in a real physical operating room. So I felt that I was freezing. I was cold, and yeah.
And that's amazing because I would describe, I'm so cold right now. It's like we're in an operating room and my body cannot get warm, or they want to put a white blanket over me to keep the body warm while they're working on us. And so when that happens, I know, okay, she's having a spiritual surgeon right now, a spiritual surgery right now, and getting the anesthesia and all of that. And so there's so many levels of what's happening, right? I mean, we went
Yes.
on body healing, your feet healing, your abdomen healing, the nails, to a spiritual journey. I mean, what can all transpire in an hour was a lot. And
It
then
was.
you were feeling it too. I just
Yes.
love the fact that you were feeling it too. You said the spiritual surgeons remove the gunk.
Yes. Yes. There was, yeah, I could feel that there was some really uh dark type energy, not evil, not bad, not awful. It was just where the feeling of separation, that's how that darkness came in, and it just felt like that dark gunky stuff was being removed.
And then you
And
feel lighter.
yes.
So that journey when you're with God, Jesus, I call it all one because it's all love.
Mhm.
I felt you took an oath that day. What was the oath? What did you choose?
To choose life, to choose joy, to yeah, I just turn off all this self-talk that was so abusive and so negative, and yeah, yeah, I chose that day.
I
That was
remember hearing you, but I didn't say it. I remember hearing you saying, you know, you're making an oath here, and this is between the two of you. And I felt that you were going to now just be to love yourself.
Mhm.
That's what I was feeling. But to see you smile today, I know there's a huge difference because number one, you said, I'm a very private person. I don't
Yes.
like to be on camera. This isn't something that I would ever do. And then as the healing started to continue through you, you're like, I have to talk. Like
Yeah,
you shifted.
definitely.
Yeah. And look, you're just radiating, you're smiling, and you're not judging yourself. You're like, no, I want to voice this. That's a huge shift from one person to another. It's like you you are now who you were born to be, right?
Yes.
And all that other stuff that we hold on to as humans, the judgments, we place those judgments on ourselves. And sometimes the church does, sometimes our family does, the outside world does. And we have to just come back to this place of saying, what would God say? There's
Mhm.
no judgments.
Right.
You talked about the soreness after the session where you felt like you needed a massage or something. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it just felt like, even my ears were kind of ringing and shifting, and my auditory system was being open, not necessarily to the outside world, but to the inner, communication with me and God. And it just felt like it needed massaging so that could all relax into a new place and of where it needs to be right now. And
So did you massage yourself? Like, were
I
you?
did. Because
Yeah, so you really did. You had to. It
I
became
did.
that real.
Yes.
And when I hear the ringing tone in the ear, I feel like you're fine tuning, your body's fine tuning itself. How beautiful. Uh,
Yes.
is there anything else you want to say or share?
My friends are recognizing shifts, and I didn't realize that it was this visible. It was amazing, just, and the people I've come in contact with at work and my clients. I'm a massage therapist, and the the difference that they're seeing, and being able to just voice it now, where I didn't feel so much like I had a voice even to talk about, because there was just so much stuff there. Now it feels like I'm free enough just to discuss things and talk about things and share my experiences, and hope, I really want to, if I can just help one person, that's my goal. And because there's so many ripple effects from that. So it's amazing. I knew there would be a little bit of a process afterwards, and there was, because my mind was still on old tape, and I had to catch it. I had to really, be aware of it and realize, oh, that's pretty negative talk. Just need to switch that off and turn on the I'm magnificent, I'm loved, I'm joy, I'm free now. I'm healed. And so just the shifts that not just visible to me, but my friends around me. And I feel like I'm attracting even, you know, nicer friends, because when you're not so negative to yourself, you don't put that out to other people. And so yeah, I just feel like that's huge.
That is huge, because it's being aware of it is a big part of the process, because our brain goes off of old patterns. It's like your computer, it just spins and spins and spins, and we have to reset it.
Yes.
Reset it and reboot it. But then when it comes back, you have to say, oh no, I don't want you anymore.
Yeah.
You're old. I'm putting you over to the side. But you've been plugged in. It's like you've been plugged in to this new socket, and you're shining bright now, right? That light is just infused in you and the healing, but now you're radiating outward, and people are seeing that light. People are seeing that happy, you're happy. Like, look at her. What did she do?
Yeah.
And then it heightened your work, your massage. You're able to now voice things that you may not have. You feel you're standing strong in who you are, what you're doing. And now you're getting feedback probably that you didn't have before.
Right.
So it just kind of opens all doors.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. Hearing you, watching it, the transformation take place is a miracle. It truly is a miracle, because had you never had received these words or the embrace from God, you would have still been on those same patterns.
Exactly. I was always looking and studying these people that had near-death experiences and what they experienced when they went on the other side. I said, I would like to experience that before I go, a little bit of that, before I go to the other side. I know it's possible. And I was just searching and searching and searching for it. But, it's come to find out it's really right here inside. And I just couldn't see it. So
but
yeah.
basically the healing gave you an out-of-body experience right?
Yes.
Like you were reborn.
Yes.
Well, I can't thank you enough for sharing your story, because this is going to really help others to know that, just to listen to your words, to say, don't listen to those judgments. Let them go. They don't serve you. And if they can hear it from you and know that you trusted those words, the difference it made for you, that we hope that it can make a difference for those that are listening.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much.
So thank you everybody for listening, and bye for now. I'll see you soon.